Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning for another news update for Thursday, November 27, 2025. And I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, highway crash leaves 5 dead, 15 injured. 5 people died and 15 others were reportedly hospitalized up to press time on Wednesday following a catastrophic crash involving a public passenger bus on the P.J. Patterson Highway in St. Catherine. Road safety advocate and the vice chairman of the National Road Safety Council, Dr. Lucien Jones, said among the dead were 3 males and 2 females. Among the injured is a 2-year-old child, Jones added. Chief Executive Officer at the Spanish Town Hospital, Jacqueline Ellis, told the news that doctors and nurses quickly sprang to action to treat the victims. The hospital's emergency response plan was activated to manage the influx of patients, and the various teams worked together to provide care and treatment. Based on the information I received, we had 5 deaths. We treated 15 patients, said Ellis. Dr. Jones told the journalist via an audio release on Wednesday that the preliminary reports indicated that a tire blew out on the vehicle. The question as to whether the vehicle was traveling at a high speed is to be the subject of an investigation. The minivan hit against a guardrail and flipped several times, and that is why we had so many injuries. This is a terrible crash that is going to cause the nation to mourn even more now in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, and it means that a total of 342 people have died in crashes this year, said Jones. Preliminary reports are that the crash happened about 3 p.m. in the eastbound lane a few hundred meters before the Vineyard toll booth. Several people were reportedly flung from the bus during the crash, which involved a bus tagged as traveling the Mandeville to Kingston route. Police responded and transported the injured people to hospital. Firefighters and the Jamaica Fire Brigade's emergency medical services also responded to the crash. Jones, who has long advocated for safety on the nation's roads, again urged the road users to be cautious as he expressed the shock following Wednesday's crash. Coming at a time when for a number of days we had no fatalities reported by the police, this is a sudden jolt and a reminder to all of us that we need to drive on the roads with extreme care and to slow down and to make sure that the vehicle in which we are driving and the drivers who are driving the vehicles ensure that we have safe vehicles, ensure that the people are buckled up, and ensure that there is no speeding on our roads, because all of these things can cause crashes, and in this instance, fatal crashes, he said. The police are going to continue investigations to find out precisely what caused the Wednesday's crash, but this is a terrible tragedy on the road and a reminder to us that road safety has to be an absolute priority in the minds of the entire nation and the government in particular, he added. He said drivers should be reminded of the penalties for breaches of the Road Traffic Act, including the suspension of their license. We have to do everything possible to ensure that we have safe drivers by making sure that every aspect of the Road Traffic Act is rolled out, especially the demerit point system, so that people have a sense that if they break the law, that they will be subjected to fines, and if you accumulate many points, this would possibly affect your ability to drive on the roads because your license can be suspended, he said. St. Anne communities plunged back into darkness following vandalism, says JPS. The Jamaica Public Service Company is condemning what it describes as a deliberate act of sabotage that plunged several St. Anne communities back into darkness following the cutting down of a utility pole in Bonham Spring in the parish shortly after crews restored their power. According to the company in a media statement on Wednesday, teams conducting patrols discovered that a freshly planted utility pole had been deliberately cut at the base, causing it to topple. This criminal act, carried out in Bonham Spring, resulted in a sudden outage affecting the Bonham Hill housing scheme, Hand to Mouth, Refuge Hill, and the Lower White River substation, all of which had only just regained electricity following extensive restoration work the company said. JPS says it is deeply disturbed that anyone would intentionally undermine the company's restoration efforts, particularly at a time when the electricity network has suffered severe damage and the crews continue to work around the clock to rebuild. The company is urging all well-thinking people to remain vigilant and to immediately report any suspicious activity, vandalism, or signs of sabotage. JPS noted that these destructive acts not only endanger lives but also slow the restoration process for communities that are depending on the return of normal service. The company said it remains committed to restoring power safely and as quickly as possible and is calling on the public to partner with the company in safeguarding critical infrastructure. Westmoreland man killed at a police checkpoint. Cops claim self-defense. Friends insist Ellis posed no threat. A birthday visit to a friend ended in terror for 30-year-old Bijan Cody Ellis of Bath District, Burnt Savannah, who was fatally shot by police along the Landilo Main Road late Sunday. A close friend who was in the vehicle with him has rejected the police account as a lie and is demanding justice. She said the night began peacefully as their group visited a friend for her birthday. After leaving the gathering in two cars around 10 p.m., Ellis hit a pothole on Seaton Street, blowing out a rear tire. We stop and we check on the tire. He said it a loose air and we have no spare, so we say it can carry we down, she said. According to the woman, they switched on their hazard lights and continued driving slowly. They soon saw police blue lights and the cones ahead. Police stretched out their hand and stopped the car. By the time we pulled off the road and put the vehicle in park, the officer pointed his gun straight into the vehicle and we ducked. Him fired 3 shots, she claimed. According to her, one bullet tore through the windshield, grazing her arm, and another hit Ellis. One of the shots came through the windscreen. Cody jumped up and said, "Me get shot in my eye," and him cover him eye. When I look, I see blood, she said. Ellis reportedly stumbled out begging for help. He said, "Please take me to the hospital. Please, me get shot in my eye," she said. He walked to the police vehicle and jumped up in the back and begged them to carry him to the hospital. She said that the officers drove off with him after about a minute and that the next car with his friends followed behind. Minutes later, she received a call that Ellis was dead. Hospital staff reportedly told them he had been shot in the chest or neck. The police report, however, states that around 10:20 p.m., a man attempted to mow down a police officer at a vehicle checkpoint, prompting officers to open fire in self-defense. Ellis was pronounced dead at Savannah Lamar Hospital at 11:03 p.m. Senior Superintendent Othniel Dobson, head of the Westmoreland Police Division, said officers have been facing increasingly dangerous encounters with motorists. We have seen in recent times several motorists slowing down, then driving at high speed to frighten the police out of the road. It's a very dangerous practice. We will not tolerate persons hitting down police, he said, adding that music glorifying attacks on officers encourages reckless behavior. The vehicle tends to be used as a weapon. They slow down and then they drive at the police at high speed, said Dobson. But Ellis's friend insists none of that happened. The vehicle stopped. They were like 10 feet away, she said. She said no officer spoke to her or checked if she had been hurt after the shots were fired. They tell me to take my stuff out of the car and move, she said. When another friend tried to record the scene, an officer allegedly pushed them back, saying no videoing. She described Ellis as neither violent nor problematic. The Independent Commission of Investigations has since taken her statement. They just take the statement and said they will get back to me, she said. I want him to get justice because he didn't do anything wrong. The Savannah Lamar CIB is investigating. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.